The world depends on agriculture, but farming isn't just hard work. It's innovation, strategy, business. This is the Wylie AgCast, where we dive into everything that drives modern agriculture. From the latest advancements in ag tech to the business strategies shaping the industry, we cover tools, trends, and challenges that matter to you. Sit back, relax, and tune in.
Welcome to the podcast. I'm here with Mr. Heath Houston. Heath, how are you doing today?
Wonderful, man. How about you?
I'm doing pretty good. It's
good.
I got up this morning, so that's what counts.
That's it. I had an old man tell me one time we're on this side of the dirt, so that's all that matters.
Something like that. So a little bit about you. You are a sales rep here for Wylie.
Yes, sir.
And you do wholesale?
Correct.
So out of curiosity, what's wholesale?
So what the main staple of my job is for number one, I maintain relations with our current dealers and distributors.
Okay.
But setting up dealers and distributors that will stock the Wylie whole goods, so whether it's nurse trailers, poly tanks, sprayers, parts, pumping units, hose, fittings, things of that nature. So seeking out places to stock those parts, buy them from us, keep them on the shelf, and the main part of the wholesale business is being competitive price-wise, so that not only does Wylie make money, but it allows our customers the opportunity to make a living as well.
Gotcha. Okay. So a little bit about your background. Did you always know you wanted to do ag, or did it just kind of find you?
Man, I've been stuck in this industry for I'll be 29 this year, and from day one. So whether it was on the livestock production side when I was younger, raising beef cows, and then getting into the row crop side, whether it was, helping guys harvest or doing some research work for a few folks around Lubbock and the surrounding areas. I've done spent some time with fertilizer company, making fertilizer, hauling, delivering, blending, customer relations, and then here we are. So it's been one of those things that, unfortunately, I've put all my eggs in one basket, and I love it. I wouldn't, I couldn't ask for not only a better place to be, but a better industry to be in, because there's good folks in this deal no matter where you go.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, have you ever thought about, not thought about, but do you have like a favorite industry within the industry?
So within ag, I really enjoy the wholesale side of things because I see a lot of different aspects. I see co-op gyms, I see farm stores, industrial supply houses, things like that. And I tell you, some of the most fun I have is helping some of our little independent tractor dealers that we deal with, helping them get guys into sprayers, helping them get guys into fertilizer tanks, things like that, because I've got a passion for this, and you're not dealing with a big company. You've got a guy that's an independent dealer, and he's excited to, for one, see his business grow and set his customer up with something. So I love seeing that. The independent guys, I love that.
Awesome.
A ton.
Well, that's good. They're good people too.
Definitely.
Yes, sir.
That's what I tell folks is, I'm sure it's every sales guy says it, but I've got the best customers that a guy can ask for. No doubt.
Yep.
And most of them are not customers, they're friends. You know, I call them up if I'm here or there. Hey, what are you doing Saturday afternoon? You want to get together, and what are the kids doing? Just hang out, and that's the best part of the wholesale business is you're not just selling them one time. You're going to see them several times a month. You get to know them, they get to know you, and they become friends,
Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So what's day-to-day kind of, what's your daily kind of situation when it comes to selling wholesale? Do you go out once a week and kind of try and meet everybody, or what do you?
So it's tough because, I need to be in like 14 places at one time. So what I do is typically I'll plan a whole week out. Okay. And Monday morning I'll start calling guys. Hey, Joe. Hey, James. Hey, John. I'm going to be here Monday. I'm going to be here Tuesday. If you need anything, let me know. So I'll kind of line my week out, prep that up, let guys know I'm coming so that if they need anything, they can turn orders in. get to the store in the morning early, load everything up, get on the road. And like I mentioned, maintaining the relationships with our current customers. And then while I'm out, seeking out potential customers, whether it's, independent fertilizer companies or farm stores, somebody that hasn't bought from us in a long time, hasn't ever bought from us, isn't familiar with what we can offer them. So, day to day is hauling parts, poly tanks, equipment to our customers, maintaining them, making sure they're happy and taken care of, but at the same time, trying to expand on the business.
Sure. So do you, how do you like adjust and kind of keep these customers happy, I would say is the best way to put it.
Customer service. If you're just there for them, if you take care of them, give them a heads up you're coming, let them know, hey, I had a price increase here. Here's how we're going to work with you. Try to stay ahead of the curve on things like that, especially nowadays with everybody threatening tariffs and threatening this and that,
Yep.
If you can just stay ahead and communicate with your customers, that goes a long ways.
Yeah.
Especially right here, the guys we deal with daily, if you can just stay in touch with them, let them know what's going on, let them know, hey, this is coming down the pipeline. Do we want to order in XYZ to get ahead of it?
Yeah.
Stick it on the shelf. That way you've got it. You're at a better, more competitive price point early on. Things like that. You know, keeping them ahead of the curve, and then at the same time keeping us there too.
Right.
That way we're not playing catch up all the time, constantly chasing our tails. If we can try to get this far ahead.
Try,
Yes.
you can only do so much.
Most of the time I stay behind, but it's okay.
Okay. So, what do you do when, because I know the ag industry constantly changes and you have seasons and weather and timing and different demands for different time periods. What do you do to kind of keep up with that and keep that in line?
So our main focus is we're going to have seasons of, we need double cones, we need nurse trailers, we need injection pumps, we need poly, storage tanks setting. So we do our best. You mentioned weather and timing and all of the things that we have no control over.
Right.
We try to, at our store, do our best to forecast, well, this is what we think we're going to need. This is what we think our customers are going to need. Try to have that stuff readily available here. That way, when we get into peak season, our guys are prepared, our dealers and distributors are prepared, we're prepared.
Right.
If the floodgates break loose and it rains,
Well, it did not too long ago.
I know.
Yeah.
Maybe this weekend, then the first part of next week. We'll cross our fingers. We'll keep praying.
I keep seeing the hazy skies, but there's no water. So
none.
I mean, but it did. We needed what it did give.
Definitely.
Yeah.
We're grateful to have what we got.
Yeah, it just needs to keep going.
And we're one day closer to the next rain. So
see, that's one way to think about it, right there. Keep you on track. But so, what do you foresee not foresee, but how's the wholesale industry doing? Is it on an up year or a down year or what?
So I think for the hand that we're dealt, whether it's price increases, agriculture as a whole is not where it should be.
Right.
But for the most part, things are strong. Guys are still ordering. Guys are still buying.
Good.
For the simple fact that you may not be making – things are slower. They're not as fast-paced as we're used to, but things are still going out the door. Things are moving. Our wholesale guys are buying because their customers are buying. So it's inevitable. Things are breaking when they're out running. They tear a sprayer up, they clip a pole, whatever it is. Parts are moving. While it's not what we're used to, we're grateful to have what we've got. And like I say, things are still strong.
Well, good.
The industry things need to turn around to get things good again. Commodity prices need to get right. It needs to rain, A little subsoil moisture would be nice.
A little bit.
And the little bit of rain we got a couple of weeks ago, attitudes are a little better. Mm-hmm. Guys are not so standoffish. They don't mind seeing you come around and shake them down for an order. But yeah, overall it could definitely be better. but like I say, the area is still pretty strong.
What would you do to kind of boost it?
Oh, if we could just get everything right commodity-wise, that would change things a ton.
Okay.
If we could farm cotton and not sell it for 50, 60 cents, that would make things... If I was way more intelligent than I am, and I could get the price of cotton right, things in this area would look drastically different.
Right.
Equipment would move a lot quicker. Parts would move a lot quicker. If you peddle fertilizer and chemical, that's going to move a lot quicker. Guys are they're in a tough spot because we failed 3 crops, and then commodity prices are just down.
Yeah.
So if we could get the trifecta, if we could get some moisture, we could get commodity prices right, and then that would make things tons better here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well,
Definitely.
I remember when we were at that gin show, a lot of them cotton ginners were awfully concerned.
It is, and visiting with guys, I think in our area we've lost. I haven't got a firm number, but
Sure.
in the Panhandle we've lost somewhere between 17 and 22 gins between this previous year and this year, and it's tough, because those guys, I feel for them. If they don't gin any cotton, they don't make any money.
Yeah.
So, and it's all the way around. Everybody feels it. Our producers they're hurting because they're not able to get to harvest. They can't carry a crop through because of the lack of moisture, or they get hailed out. There's so many variables that we can't see coming, that they don't see coming, and your producers have put all this input into it with it cottonseed, fertilizer, chemical, equipment, diesel to run the equipment.
Right.
So they're suffering. Your gins are hurting incredibly bad. There's some of them that haven't fired a gin in 2 years, 3 years, depending on the area. So
Goodness.
we need to make a crop.
Yeah.
Especially for those guys, and a lot of those guys are good customers of Wylie, good friends of Wylie. And, we want to see them hold on and continue.
Sure.
You don't want to see anybody go without.
So how are you helping keep the moods high?
Oh, my chipper spirit, Everybody loves to see me coming. No, the main thing is, honestly and truly, just being there for those guys. Some of them want to, when you walk into co-op gin or you walk into an elevator, they may not be in the best mood, but, just visit with them, and then on the product side, do what you can to help them, take care of them help them with pricing, help them with some, terms on things, draw it out for them as best you can to make it viable for them to peddle our product to their customers, extend things to them that they can extend to their customers, and that goes a long ways in boosting morale.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. Well, do you see it helping so far?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so. Guys are not super excited, but it's going to be all right, and we'll do everything we can to help them get through it and keep them in Wylie products, keep putting their fertilizer in Wylie tanks, and
That's what
running
we
it
need.
through a sprayer. That's
Yes,
it.
sir. Well, you said it.
That's it. That's all.
Right. So you also deal with the industrial and more oil field type suppliers. How is that industry different from ag?
It is vastly different. When I started traveling in the middle of Odessa, the Permian Basin, really,
Right.
I thought, you know what? I've got a little touch of oil and gas experience.
Right.
I thought this will be old hat, and I get down there and it's the Wild West. You get to middle of Odessa, and if you didn't deliver it yesterday, you're late. So, and it's just the industry is super fast paced, which ours is for a chunk of the season in the ag business. But you get down there and they are right now, because when you're pumping oil and you're flowback operating and you got workover crews running and you got roustabout crews running, those guys, downtime to them is a killer. I mean, they're losing money hand over fist being down. Our guys, they're a little, in the ag business, they're a little more understanding because, well, this goes down, planter goes down, sprayer goes down, get to it in the morning type of deal.
Right.
You know, they're, unless it is like right now, they're usually more understanding. You get down there and they can't afford to be down, you know. So it was an eye opener to say the least.
Okay.
But good folks down there too, though. You know, the customers we have are great. We build a good product that they're happy with, and that goes a long way with those guys. If you can get something in the field that they're not constantly having to work on, oh, they'll love you to death.
Right. Well, I think that's anybody.
That's it. Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, just totally different outlook, you know. Doesn't compute in my mind some of the times. They got to have it right now, and right now means right now.
Yeah.
So,
like
but
yesterday.
it's a super cool industry because I enjoy it because I get to see something different, something new, a new side of what we can offer people, you know, both whole goods and individual parts and pieces. You look at it and it's just, well, we can bring water trailers here. We can do combo units here, gen sets there, you know, ton of different short lines that we wouldn't see in the ag business that we see down there. And it's cool because it kind of keeps my mind sharp, you know. Hey, I need this right now. Comet pumps down on a pressure washer. How fast can we get one? Or we're working a location and we need a couple of gen sets. How quick can we get them down here? You know, so it's a really cool deal to see that side of it.
Sure.
With the equipment and all of that, it's amazing.
It's a big industry too. I mean, and they're booming.
Huge. Yeah.
Are they? Would you say they're booming now as far as the sizing?
So I do see that that some of that's tapered off a little bit. Okay. Everybody's kind of in a holding pattern.
Interesting.
A lot of guys are looking for Q3 to take off. So I think a lot of folks are really, you know, fingers crossed and bearing down and hoping that Q3 it turns loose. And you know as well as I do, when that area turns loose, it'll be a domino effect, and it'll just take off running.
Oh yeah, it will.
So I think a lot of those guys are, you know, they're busy, but they're not what they want to be in that industry. You know, they're used to being so far behind with rentals, with service work, whatever it is, and they're not, you know, they're not completely caught up, but they're not a couple of weeks out type of a thing. Sure. So I think they're ready for it to turn loose, get busy again. A lot of them are hoping that everybody's saying Q3 is actually it.
Really? Okay.
So that would be ideal, you know.
Okay.
Get those guys busy again, and
yeah,
let's take off running in Q3.
Well, I think if they put their minds to it, but there's been a boom in electric things like that too. I mean, electric vehicles, maybe even, I don't know if there's electric tractors out there. I doubt it, but
and I tell people this too. I think there's a place for them.
Right.
But you're not going to do a lot of what goes on with an electric vehicle. You know, I spent yesterday traveling and did 500 or 600 miles, you know, ate through a tank and a half of diesel.
Yeah.
It would have taken me 2 days to do it in an electric car. So I do agree. I think there's a market for them, and I think there's a niche, and I think they fit in well for the guys that use them.
Right.
The technology, I just don't think has made it and progressed far enough to replace the 3/4-ton diesel pickup I drive, to replace the, you know, Cummins engine that's in a Magnum tractor,
well, sure,
you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I don't doubt that someday, it may not be in my lifetime, but I'm sure we'll see it eventually, you know.
Man, I don't know. I mean, they started doing the electric lawnmower thing for
yes.
a while there.
Yes.
I don't know. I think those are kind of cool.
Have you seen the electric riding mowers?
I have. That's
wild, you know.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah.
I bet you we see a day we're there. The technology's got to catch up to where the rest of the world is, you know.
Sure.
And I mean, so much of the U.S. and the rest of the nation is built on the back of a semi-truck, and
that's true.
That's tough shoes to fill when you're traveling 1,000 miles a day. in an 18-wheeler.
It eats it up, man.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So,
Can't avoid it.
but that's the thing is you know, everybody's pushing for that clean energy. And I think we all are, whether you're in the industrial or you're in the ag, you know, you want to take care of what we were given, be a good steward of the ground we're given.
Sure.
But at what cost does it come, you know? And what do we sacrifice to go all electric? What do we, you know, does it just take 2 weeks to do everything we do?
Well, I mean, you bring up a good point, though, because it seems like no matter what mission you have as far as clean energy or just energy in a general sense, I mean, there's going to be a cost to any of it.
Yes.
I mean, there's obviously a cost
whether it's
to the oil, but
a financial cost or
Yeah.
whether it's a burden of I've got to wait a little longer. There's always something that you're going to have to sacrifice
yeah,
to get to your end goal.
sure.
Yes.
Well, and see, you bring up a good point too. Thinking about it, you're talking about the oil industry kind of being like right now, yesterday, have it here. They can't afford to wait.
Exactly.
So it's like, how much is it going to slow the world down if you try to, you know,
Yes.
push that? But
Get to that point. Yeah.
I mean the morality of it is justified, I would say.
Definitely.
Yeah.
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 I think everyone's hearts are in the right place.
Sure.
It's just we've got to figure out how to get there.
Yeah.
And right now it's oil and gas. You know. And
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer that we've got to have it, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, there's just so many things that we get from oil and gas. You're not going to get away from it.
No.
You
yeah.
know.
Not for the next 100, 200 years.
Exactly. Exactly. And then it won't be my problem. So.
Exactly. Yeah, I won't even be here.
Definitely. But, you know, you kind of reference back to ag a little bit, whether it's ag or industrial, everybody's in a hurry.
Right.
Everybody's got to have their product. And whether you got to have it right now, or maybe you're a farmer that's doing some soil amendments and trying to do some things like that to better your ground that you're farming, there's sacrifices all the way around. No matter what industry you're in, there's gives and takes and goods and bads to the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's any industry, supplier or producer. I mean,
Yes.
it's part of the nature of business.
Play the game.
Yeah. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. And,
Yes.
somebody's gonna pay for it somehow.
That's it. Eventually, it'll roll downhill.
It will. It will. It always does. And I think
Yes.
I think that's the side that people don't maybe think about. It's the fact that, I mean, even the heads of the countries, I mean, there's a cost involved. I mean,
Absolutely.
there's something.
And it trickles down from top to bottom.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does. But so how do you see the technology side advancing? I mean, everybody talks about farmers and agricultural always being a lot more techie
Right.
than people realize. Do you see that in any other industry?
So you're seeing more of it as farmers get younger. You're seeing more guys go to more technologically advanced equipment. Whether you're going to flow monitors that you can look on your phone and see what you're putting out in furrow, or, you know, any of that stuff in the ag industry. A lot of our big fertilizer companies have got to where they're putting trackers and level indicators in double cones so they can see the level of their cone trailers while they're in the field. They can track them. And you see a lot of that in the oil and gas industry where gen sets are out on location. They're tracked. They can see if they're running, if they're standby, what load is on the generator, how many hours is on them. So you're seeing a lot more of it across the board, you know.
Right.
And the main thing comes down to that I see personally is asset management, keeping up with what you own, you know, not only in knowing where it is, but also knowing the condition of the unit, things of that nature.
Sure.
And that's a huge one in our business. You know, when you're selling $40,000 generators, guys want to know where they are. You know,
Sure.
when you're selling $14,000 double cones, guys want to know where they are.
Well, yeah. I would.
So exactly.
Yeah. I mean,
And you know, it's crazy to see how much technology is invested in both industries for pumping units in ag, level indicators, flow metering and monitoring, and then you get into the oil and gas, flow meters and monitors in oil and gas, LAC units for loading oil into trucks, pushing through a pipeline. There's tons of technology that's implemented for a safety aspect, but also keeping the honest, making sure you know where your equipment is, you know where your product's going, where it's at, all of that.
Okay. Well, that's good to know that they're keeping up with the times. I mean, you almost can't not do it.
Exactly. Get on board or you're going to get left behind nowadays.
I mean,
and the world moves fast. You know that better than I do.
It does.
I'm not a technology person like I was telling you. I might as well be 85 in a 30-year-old's body. I'm not doing that. I don't want to use it,
Right.
But that's just it. If you don't get on board with it, you're going to get left behind.
Sure.
So,
well, and it was in Fisher's episode, I believe he mentioned kind of the boom in the AI stuff. Do you see that?
It's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't remember if it was. I think it was Raven that did it, but they've got the autonomous fertilizer spreaders, so they can they'll run themselves. I think it's early on in R&D right now, but they've got some autonomous tractors. It's crazy the spot that is placed itself in agriculture. I mean, never in my life when I was a little kid, the old man that taught me to run a tractor, never in my life did I ever think we would see a point where AI is such a big factor. But it goes back to the younger folks in ag. They enjoy that, the usability of it. Even if you just have it on your phone, you can ask it questions. Hey, I've got a John Blue pump and I want to set, I did it just the other day, just for giggles. And, it'll give you, I guess it scours the web and pulls this and pulls that. You can ask it, what do I need to set my John Blue pump at to do 5 gallons an acre on a 12-road bar, and it pulls it up. You need this pump setting. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool.
That is cool.
So it's crazy. What is flow rate on this? What is flow rate on that? And it gives you a definite answer of what it's found.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat.
Do you see the, in my opinion, I think that would improve efficiency, allowing you to probably produce faster, produce better. Do you see the industry changing if it gets even faster?
It's so fast-paced already.
Yeah.
Because, we've got, especially in our area, there may be little moments during the day where mid-morning you can spray, you can run, you can do this, you can do that. So we're fast-paced already. So I don't know. I'm sure it'll get more fast-paced, but with the way the industry is, if they can be more efficient, that's going to be a step in the right direction.
Sure.
The more efficient they can be, the less money it costs them. So the more they keep in their pocket for these bad commodity prices, increased prices across the board, from whether it's you're buying fittings or you're buying seed, whatever it is. If they can be more efficient about how they plant it, how they spray it, how they handle it, who's handling it, it'll save them a lot of money.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And I think because we just came out with that new sprayer.
Yes, the Weed It Rig.
Yes, sir.
Definitely. Well, and that's the thing. For example, that machine right there, with the technology that is put in place there, it can save you a ton of money on your chemical usage.
Yeah, because it doesn't.
Exactly. You're not broadcast spraying across everything.
Sure.
So, if you're just spot spraying your weeds, it cuts your chemical costs down drastically.
Right.
And the guys that are using it, having good luck with it, it doesn't matter if you run a Wylie drag type that's got the Weed It system on it, you run a John Deere with the See and Spray, you run the Case machine with theirs. It's trending that direction.
Okay.
So,
well, that's good.
A lot of guys like it just for the fact that you're not wasting a bunch of chemical by broadcast spraying it. And for the most part, you get a good kill and a good coverage.
Well, good. Well, I think they could improve by identifying plant types. That would be That would be a neat system.
Yes,
Because I think right now it's just green on brown.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yes.
But
yes.
if they could,
Kind of low level.
yeah. But I mean, like we were talking about with the boom and the AI and things like that. Surely they could implement something that, could actually identify the plant and then spray it if it needs to be sprayed. And
it wouldn't surprise me if we get there eventually.
I think we will.
I think so.
I think if it's not there already or in processing, I think it's going that direction.
And there's so many of these things that we don't hear about because it's in R&D. It's here, it's there. It's
hush-hush for now.
But it's coming, And I think a lot of this stuff is. I think there's probably more than we see headed this way.
Right. Yeah. Do you think we'll be good to keep up with it?
Absolutely.
Good.
Wylie sidewise?
Yes, sir.
Definitely. I mean, look at how this company's adapted over the years. I mean, it goes back to what I said. You just have to stay relevant. You've got to keep moving. So, I've been with them 6 years, and I've watched things improve and change and adapt, and we've always tried to stay ahead of that curve, whether it was when we built the old row wing originally, we brought the 3-point into this market down here from Wylie when we went to the big drag types, and then when we've introduced this weed it sprayer. The company has always stayed on track and moving forward. That's just awesome. Like in the industrial side, when we got into the water wagon business years ago, and then we have just continued to tweak that trailer, add this, take this off, let's do this, let's try that, into the trailer that we build today.
Sure.
The 550, for example, is, been refined several times over.
Oh, yeah.
We dropped one off Tuesday of this week,
yeah.
And I was sitting there looking at it. We were going over it with the guy and just thinking the short time that I've been here, the improvements that have been made to that unit.
Yeah, I haven't even been here a year, and we've already
tweaked it several times. Yeah, definitely. And that's very brief. Not to mention staying current with all of the other EXP lines that we've added in the ag side. All of the different sprayers that we've shifted this direction or that direction, added this, added that, to just stay in touch with what guys want, what guys need, where the industry's headed.
Definitely. Well, do you think we stand a chance there in the industrial industry?
Oh, definitely. I think we have such a vast line to offer these guys with the EXP line, with everything we've got on combo units, with even the short line stuff, the gen sets and whatnot.
Right.
We've made a big splash in that industry, and I think it'll be there for a long time. Just for the fact that there's other water trailer companies out there that build, but we can pick those things apart and go through why I personally think we build a better product.
Sure.
But like I mentioned earlier, the one thing about Wylie in that sector is customer service is key no matter what you do, and we've never left somebody unhappy, down, out, whatever it was. We've always taken care of the customer.
Yeah.
And that's the main thing is making sure that they're always taken care of. That keeps you ahead of so many things if you'll just, when they're down, get them going again, especially in that industry.
Yeah. But man, those combo trailers to me are really nifty. I like those things.
It's a cool setup,
yeah.
Because you can run a man camp off one of them. You've got all the power that you need, fresh water.
Right.
And it's a turnkey unit,
Oh, is it potable?
That one is, I don't think, listed potable.
Okay.
That's a weird deal because you've got to be NSF approved.
Right.
And then there's potable, and then there's non-potable. So if I'm not mistaken, the potable is like you can't drink it, but you can.
I think you can work with it.
You can, shower in it, things of that nature. But you're not supposed to drink it. But you've got to have that that NSF stamp for it to be
Right.
drinking water approved. Sure. Yeah.
Okay.
So that one will do, hand washing, taking a shower, things of that nature.
Oh, yeah.
You're not ever going to have any issues.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's and like you said, setting up camps and things like that. I mean, it's got that big light tower on it.
Exactly. You
Takes care
pull up, you're not going to have to worry about, you put diesel in it, you fill it up with water, you take it out there with a pickup, you set it down, and your guys are ready to go.
Yeah.
They've got power, light if they need it. They've got water. You're set, ready to roll,
Yes, sir.
And that industry, that's something that's a big thing, because you get onto some of these locations in the middle of, absolutely nowhere. There's no power, there's no light. So that's your saving grace right there, is a combo unit.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and with the recent disasters in Florida and all that, having something like that to take out there and support those guys that, lost all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's a huge thing.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to what you mentioned with potable trailers.
Right.
That's a big deal too, because then you can supply people with drinking water.
Absolutely.
That is kind of necessary to life.
Just a bit. Just a bit.
So that's a big deal too. In the disaster, that kind of falls into our industrial line.
Sure.
So in that, if you can supply power, supply light, and supply fresh water, man, you're there.
Mm-hmm.
You can take something like that to somebody that's lost it all. Now, it replaces absolutely nothing, but it gets them over the hump of having somewhere to, plug your phone in to call your family and touch base, things like that. It doesn't replace a single thing, but it's kind of like it's like the blanket. It's the warm, fuzzy feeling of being able to have some drinking water, have some power and light when they get those little dog houses, is what I call them, but the man camp type setups where they'll pull in and hook those in, and they've got power and they've got light and electricity and
well, it's an awesome unit. I definitely like it.
Definitely. And hardy, all of those. The whole EXP line is tough.
Yeah.
While it's not bulletproof, that's what I tell everybody. We don't build a product that doesn't break. We just build a product that we stand behind.
Sure.
So, but the amount of trailers that are out there that are still running around, some of the old 500-gallon units that are, 10, 15 years old, they've probably had a set of axles put under them and a tank put on them.
Uh-huh.
But just tough. Tough. So, and that's the other thing is, if you can keep those units going, that's all that matters. But I'll tell you, the one thing that Wylie has shined in the not only wind but solar is sprayers. So a lot of that stuff's got to be bare ground sprayed.
Right.
And especially in the solar application, they don't have a whole lot of room to be able to get in there with mowers or whatever. So if they can get in there with a small UTV or a four-wheeler,
oh yeah,
and they don't have to worry about breaking panels with things flying off of a mower, but they can go through there and say they run a little boom buster nozzle or something, keep it low, so they don't have to worry about a whole lot of drift, get under those panels. And so that's one of the things that's been cool to see, as that's taken off. You see a ton of, everybody's got their fans going,
Man. Almost can't avoid it in this heat.
That's right. So, that's been a huge thing is being able to keep that stuff sprayed.
Okay.
Under those and under the solar panels, around your windmills.
Sure.
All of that stuff, keeping it clean, keeping those pads tidy. That's a safety thing. A lot of those safety guys, when they're out there on, whether it's oilfield locations or any of those sites where, energy is produced, safety is a huge thing. So keeping everything clean, keeping it bare ground sprayed, keeping it nice and tidy goes a long ways. And, we've got a ton of companies that deal with us on the wholesale side, kind of circling back to that, in the bare ground spraying, whether it's buying skid sprayers from us, buying Honda engines and pumping units from us, guns, nozzles, all of that to do that oil and gas spraying. And it's a heck of a market.
Okay.
Heck of a market.
I'm going to open the floor and see if you have any bit of advice or final knowledge or anything you just want to impart?
So there was a couple of things that I liked on that you mentioned. One of them being how do you divide your time or something like that.
Oh, yeah.
So that's incredibly hard for me. That is something that I struggle with a lot because of the territory that I cover.
Right.
I've got guys that they may open at 7 o'clock. They may close at 6 o'clock. They may be in New Mexico an hour behind us. So that's I'm glad you put that on there because that's hard.
Yeah.
You know, being able to put it down. And I have a hard time putting it down.
Yeah.
Just for the fact that I don't ever want any of our customers to suffer, and I always want to be available for them.
Sure.
So that's tricky. I was sitting there with my wife the other day, and we were talking about it. She's like, "You work all the time," and I said, "You know, it's good and bad because I'm always available for our customers, no matter what time it is. You know, I've got guys that'll call me at 8 o'clock at night, and man, I'm trying to put fertilizer down, and pump's giving me fits, or hey, can you get me a quote on a tank? I had one split."
Yeah.
So, you know, the main thing is, I guess the way I do it is I'm always available for our customers.
Right.
110%. But then on the flip side of it, when it comes to anything personal, I always make myself available for things that my wife needs, for things that my little one needs, and kind of bide my time between them, you know, because I've always said that if you want to be successful, especially in the wholesale market, you have to be available all the time.
24.
Anytime they call, you know, that's always been, which it's hard. And it's a learning curve, no doubt. Because when I got into this deal, I was thinking, you know what, this won't be too bad. And then I realized, oh, dang. Just because our store is open 8 to 5, that doesn't mean that
Heath's
Co-op
open.
down the street is not open 7 to 7, you know. So
oh, yeah, those guys don't sleep.
Never. So that's the main thing is that was a learning curve, you know, like, wow.
Yeah.
And now that I've got it figured out, you know, it just took a couple of years.
Well, yeah.
But that's the main thing is just being available for those guys.
Yeah. Well, it goes a long way because, like, everybody you included has mentioned that Wylie's customer service is up there.
Definitely.
And it's people like yourself that are willing to be able to, you know, answer the phone at 8 o'clock at night or
anytime.
Like that.
And that's what I tell all of our guys is it may seem like an inconvenience. You know, they feel bad about doing it. But it's part of the job.
Sure.
Don't feel bad about doing it. If you need us, call us. You know, you got my cell phone number. Call me. And that was the main thing. Before I came to work here, I was working at an independent fertilizer company.
Okay.
That's actually now a customer of ours.
There you go.
So, and great friends. I wouldn't even say customer. They're great friends of mine. And that was the thing about Wylie. Before I was here, I was there. And we ran all Wylie equipment. We got our pumping units from them. We got our hose and our fittings from them. Our double cones were Wylie. Our nurse trailers were Wylie tanks. And it never failed that we'd jump in the truck. We'd have a pump down. We'd get seal kit. We'd get volutes, housings, whatever. They always had it. So when this job came up and I got out of school, it was hard to leave there because of the people they were, and they took a chance on me. And I tell Sarah all the time at Texas Earth, I'm immensely grateful for everything that she did for me and taught me, and that was hard to leave. And when this came open, I thought, you know what, I'm gonna give it a shot, and here we are, 6 years later.
6 years later, still doing it.
Exactly.
Yes, sir. Well, yeah, awesome, man, and I think it goes a long way. Well, I think that might wrap it up for us today.
Well, all right, man. I'm excited to be here and
absolutely
go through it, man. I enjoyed it.
Thank you. I apprate you coming in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Talking to me.